everyone, to the Pockets of Knowledge podcast. I'm Desiree Stanley, and with me today is my guest, Kiah Hagen. Welcome, Kiah.
Hi, Des. Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm so excited to have you on the show today. You're going to be talking about a wonderful nonprofit animal rescue that you've started, and I can't wait to hear more about it. And then also kind of something that you had to start to sort of assist with your nonprofit animal rescue. And we'll get into details of that as we go along. But so tell me, how and when did you decide to start the nonprofit?
Yeah, so I started it back in 2016. So I am originally from New York and I moved to Los Angeles and, it was like in my 20s and couldn't really find what I wanted to do, like find my way yet, I guess. And I started volunteering at a pretty big and pretty awesome dog rescue out here. Just I've always gravitated towards that. And I did a lot of work with them. I did more than just doing adoption fairs. I did a lot of their back end work. I made a lot of connections like with their veterinarians, their boarders. I did a lot of their organizational work. And I started noticing that that rescue, as well as a bunch of others, they do great work. I don't want to I don't want to say that they don't, but they weren't focusing on the dogs who I thought, in my opinion, like really needed the attention, really needed the help, like the pit bulls, the seniors, the chihuahuas, the ones that have medical needs. And I just, I was like, that's it. Like that's my calling. I should open my own rescue. So in 2016, I started Pacific Pups Rescue, and we've been going strong since then. We've rescued almost 700 animals to date.
Wow, that's amazing. 700.
Yeah.
What an accomplishment. And you're still going strong. You guys are still running the operation, and that's fantastic. And you're right. There are those special dogs that need more attention, or people have these misconceptions about types of breeds and, maybe are fearful of adopting or caring for those types of animals. So you just jumped right in to help save them. And I love that.
Thanks. Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit more about the rescue in terms of what's involved in starting a nonprofit and, what sort of entailed in that.
Yeah, so the first step was getting our 501(c)(3) to be recognized as a nonprofit, and not only does that obviously have like the tax benefits of being a nonprofit, but in our world in animal rescue, you need that in order to pull dogs from shelters. So we mainly pull dogs from high kill shelters. Los Angeles, as you probably know, is like just overflowing, always bursting at the seams, more so now than ever, I think, with homeless animals. So in order to pull out of these shelters, we need that 501(c)(3) status. So that's the first thing we did. Applied for that, but before we got that, we're like, all right, well, how can we rescue dogs right now? How can we help before we have this? So we were like helping the community at that point, and that's something that was really big for me too when I started this rescue, because I personally, before I had my rescue, I found dogs in the streets, and I follow the proper protocols, but when I tried to get rescues to take them in, they wouldn't. It was very, very hard for me to find rescues to help. And I was like, all right, that's a gap here. And I want to be able to help with that as well. So that's what we did before we had the 501(c)(3, is we're reaching out to the community, going on things like Craigslist and Nextdoor, and finding people who had animals they had to surrender, and we were helping them directly. So we are still, most of our rescues now do come from the high kill shelters, but we definitely still reach out and help the community members as well.
Oh, and that's serving a fantastic function too, because you're right. I think what happened with COVID and people being at home, a lot of people were like, let's get a pet. And now we're kind of coming out of that and going back to, our regular lives where we have to go into a job or something. And so probably there's a lot of people who maybe can't care for the animals like they could before.
That's for sure. And I did honestly expect that. I kind of knew that that was going to happen, just with everyone going back to the office and not being home, or if their dogs had separation anxiety and things like that. I did expect that. It's lasting a lot longer than I thought. And I think there might be some other factors as well now contributing. I just don't know what they are, because there's so many being surrendered right now. So many, more so than like when COVID first kind of, I don't want to say ended, but when things started going back to normal, we saw that intake of dogs again, but it's just been, it's just been really bad right now. So we're just trying really, really hard to intercept dogs before they end up in the shelters, and then also help the ones that are there as well.
Yeah. So how is the nonprofit run and how is it funded?
Yeah, so it's actually funded by, we started a business called Pacific Pups Products, and that actually developed out of the need of funding. So we were just before that relying solely on adoption fees. And honestly, when you have medical bills yearly for these dogs that are like, I won't even get into how high these medical bills can get, it just wasn't feasible. I was funding it out of my own pocket. My fiance was helping me fund it out of my own pocket. I was like, this is not sustainable. So we had a friend who was an Amazon seller, and she suggested we start a dog product. Just, one product, maybe at like $1,000 a month, hopefully for the rescue. And it did. And then that business just kind of started taking off, and it was more than we expected. And I think people really liked knowing that they were helping animals when they purchase something for their own animal. I mean, I know that like when I purchase a body wash, I look for the ones that give back to a nonprofit as well. So we started adding more and more products and growing that business. And now that's a full-time business for me. And that basically solely funds the rescue. We do get donations here and there. We're not one of these rescues that gets grants. We're not one of the rescues that has, big time donors. So we are our own donors essentially. So that is how we're funding the rescue.
And how is it promoted? Are you promoting the Amazon business in a particular way, and that's how you're promoting the rescue, or how is that handled?
So they actually kind of go hand in hand as far as promotion goes. So, obviously we're on social media and we have accounts for both, and we cross promote, I guess you would say, the rescue and the products. We also have been fortunate enough more on the rescue side. We've been on multiple Hallmark Channel shows. We're one of BuzzFeed's biggest animal rescues that they work with. So when they do their celebrity interviews with puppies, I don't know if you've seen those before, but I mean, you can Google like Chris Evans plays with puppies. And so we bring in our dogs for that. So we get promoted at the end of that. And then again, that kind of like cross promotes with the products as well.
I love that. That's such a great idea. And I had no idea. So I'm going to have to go find it now. So
Yeah, they're really
search
fun.
BuzzFeed.
Yes, search BuzzFeed, like plays with puppies, and you'll see a whole bunch of them pop up. We've been doing them for a few years, so we're in quite a few of them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And the business that you started, you said it's all solely to fund the rescue. And it's grown, right? It sounds like you're doing well, which is helping to support your nonprofit.
Yes.
How many products are you guys carrying now?
So we have 12 SKUs right now. We're working on adding 2 more within the next couple of months. And yeah, it grew from, okay, let's just have one product and hope it sells a few units, to like, now it's just like, we're constantly trying to expand it, because yeah, obviously the more we can sell, the more dogs we can rescue, the more medical dogs we can rescue. I mean, vet bills, as any pet owner knows, can be really, really high. And when you have 30, 40 dogs at a time and they're requiring surgeries and dental cleanings and spays and neuters, it really adds up. So it's just been like a saving grace that this business has blossomed into what it has, so that we can afford to keep the rescue going, and the rescue growing too, keep it going and growing.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us, what has the funding been able to provide to the nonprofit? Besides some of the, like you just mentioned, the dental cleanings and, maybe a spade or neuter, is there anything else that you guys have been able to provide back into the nonprofit?
Yeah, so we're a foster-based rescue. So that means like when we do rescue a dog, they go straight into a foster home. There's numerous reasons for that, but so that means we don't have a facility. So we need a foster in order to rescue a dog. And fosters, God, I love fosters. They're very hard to find. So a lot of times we want to rescue a dog, we don't have a foster, so we need boarding for them until we can find them a foster. So boarding costs like really, really add up as well. Also, if like fosters go out of town and we need a temporary place for the dog, they might have to go to boarding. So those are our 2 biggest expenses in the rescue, are the medical bills and the boarding. Of course, the funds also cover food and toys and crates and beds and blankets and all the supplies, collars, leashes. It goes to all of that. But the biggest things, it goes to the being able to rescue more dogs because we have the boarding space for them till we find the foster, and then taking care of them medically, because every dog will get a general exam and obviously all their shots and spayed and neutered no matter what when they come to us. And some dogs we pull knowing that they have medical issues, but a lot of them we pull not knowing, and they pop up and it's like, surprise, it's a $1,000 eye surgery. So if we didn't have the and because I came across this before we had the business, if we didn't have the business funding the rescue, I mean, people just don't have $1,000 randomly laying around to cover all these surgeries. So yeah, it's been able to help us rescue more dogs and help more dogs medically.
Oh, that's awesome. And how many do you have right now that you're working with in terms of trying to foster or find new homes for?
So right now we have about 25. We had gotten around COVID times up to about 40, but it's just myself and one other volunteer that run the rescue, and we both also have full-time jobs. So it got very tough to have the 40. So we are in our comfortable space and can give like maximum care to about 25 dogs. So we kind of keep it around there.
And how many families do you have that help foster?
At any given time, it is about 20, I would say. We have some people who are like, they'll foster back to back to back to back. We have other fosters who, sometimes take a few months break and come back, or they wait for the right dog for their situation and come back. So it's not like always a steady pool or a steady number, but we can comfortably take in about 20, 25 dogs. And typically we have fosters for each of them for the most part. But our pool probably runs, I don't know, 150, 200 families deep, but it's really more like 20 at any given time that are like available.
Sure. And I could see how sometimes it might be like, maybe this isn't the most convenient time for one particular family to foster, and so they have to pass.
Yes.
But it's great that you've got a pool of that size that you can, hopefully work with throughout, the period of time. And
Yeah.
how would somebody, if they wanted to, or like in the area and wanted to, become a family that fosters, how would they do that?
For us in particular, or in
Yes.
general?
Well, or in general.
Well, for us in particular, on our website, which is pacificpupsrescue.com, we have a foster questionnaire. So you'd fill that foster questionnaire out, and that directly sends to me, and I'll write right back to you. And what the questionnaire really does is it gives us a good idea of what animal would be a good fit for you. So for example, if you have small kids and we have a dog that's like super spooked and reactive to like quick movements, obviously we're not going to place that dog with small children. Or if you have a dog and the dog's dog reactive, so that questionnaire really helps us see like who we have or who we can rescue that would fit well with you. And yeah, in general, I would say just, Google rescues near you, or dog rescues who foster near you, and they'll pop up. Rescues, like, we can't function without fosters. Unless there's a rescue that's like a facility based, but most, at least in Los Angeles, are foster based. So rescues are going to be so thrilled that you're reaching out. So if there's like any hesitation whatsoever, the rescues will walk you through it. If they're a good rescue, they'll answer all your questions. They provide all the food, all the supplies, all the medical care. You're just giving the love in the home. So your fosters are just like so dear to rescues. Anyone that you reach out to should be like very happy to have you as a foster.
And you know what? I had no idea that they provided the food and that kind of stuff too. I would have thought that the family who was fostering the dog would take care of that. So that's good to know.
Yeah, it's great. And because a lot of people, they might not be in the position financially to care for a dog, and that's why a lot of people want to foster, because they don't want to commit to the lifetime of a dog, or maybe they can't at that moment. So the fact that we can provide all the supplies, like, finances shouldn't be an issue for someone to have a dog.
Yeah, that's excellent. And what are your plans for both the rescue and the products in the future?
Just, growth on both ends. So for the products, we just want to keep expanding, adding more like different types of dog products, like not just toys, but maybe like bedding and bowls and leashes and collars. So we just want to get broader with what we can offer. And then obviously that's going to help the rescue grow. And with the rescue, what I would absolutely love to do is to be able to hire someone, even if part-time. And that way we can grow the rescue too, because it's hard being volunteers with full-time jobs. I mean, rescue's 24/7. I'm constantly, when I'm doing the business, I'm still working on the rescue, but just to have somebody else to help with that would definitely be able to increase the capacity of how many dogs we can take in. So that's the goals for both of them, is to just continue to grow, continue to expand.
And what do you want people to know most about your business and the world of rescue?
So for the world of rescue, I guess one of the there's two big things I'd like people to know. So, and I did not know this either when I first started like rescuing dogs on my own and trying to find rescues to take them. I did not know the difference between a shelter and a rescue, and they're very, very different. And I think it's a total like common misconception, or people think the terms are interchangeable. But a shelter is like a county or city run, a county or city funded shelter, and this is where like strays go, lost dogs go, people who are surrendering dogs, they'll bring them there. Unfortunately, most of them are kill or high kill. Rescues will go into these shelters and take the dogs out. So we can't take in stray dogs, we can't take in lost dogs, because if it is a lost dog and someone's looking for that dog, they don't know to come to my tiny little rescue on my street in my home and look for their dog.
Right.
So yeah, so all lost and stray dogs will go to a shelter. But again, they risk not making it out of there. And then the rescues will go in, take them out, and rescues are no kill. So a dog can stay with us until, it could be with us for 13 years, and it's going to stay with us for 13 years. We're not putting a dog down for space reasons. So that's the main difference. Also, rescues don't have much funding. I mean, there's some huge ones that have like all the celebrity funding and stuff, but most don't. So a lot of people too just think rescues, oh, well, you can take in my dog, you can take in my dog, and we're seeing that a lot after COVID. And as much as I want to take in every single dog in the world, like I don't have the fosters, we don't have the funds. So that's just something that we want people to understand about rescues, is that rescues are doing as much as they possibly can, but we can only do as much as the funds and fosters that we do have.
Right. Yeah, totally makes sense. Speaking of Instagram, what are your Instagram accounts, so we can certainly go follow and see how that's going?
Thanks. Yeah. So for the rescue, they're all Pacific Pups Rescue. So at Pacific Pups Rescue. And then for the dog products, it's all at Pacific Pups Products.
Excellent. Just a quick question about when you launched the Amazon side of it. Was it just a couple of years ago, or was it, about the same time when you started the fostering and the rescuing?
Yeah, it was a year afterwards. So we started the Amazon business in 2017. So it was 1 year of like completely bootstrapping and struggling to keep the rescue going. And then in 2017, it was like, oh, okay. It's not easy, but there's a little bit of relief there now.
Oh, that's good. Good. And then can you tell us, is there any kind of books that you think are good, or books that you've maybe read that you want to share with us, or podcasts that you've listened to that are good knowledge that we should know, that you want to share with us, that have been influential or really important in your life?
Yeah, so I've been mainly recently anyway, listening and reading like marketing books, and for both the rescue and the products. So some of the podcasts I've been listening to are like Marketing Ninja, Wizards of eCom, and also the Serious Seller podcast on Helium 10, because it's really helping me. Well, and I should also mention the books are the same sort of thing. So I'm reading You Ask, They Answer by Marcus Sheridan. So I'm in the middle of that one right now, and it's great. And then I also just finished Instagram Rules by Jody Cook. I'm really trying to get a bigger social media presence. I just think that's the way everything's going right now. And I can provide way more content and way more knowledge about dogs this way. So I'm just trying to expand my reach that way in social media. So those podcasts and those books have been absolutely great for learning that.
Excellent. Well, so tell us again, if people have questions or they want to reach out and see how they can help you and what you're doing with the animal rescue, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me at info@pacificpupsrescue.com. That's the email address I'm like religiously checking. So that's going to be the best way to get a hold of me. You can also go onto either of our websites, pacificpupsrescue.com or pacificpupsproducts.com, and there's links on there as well to contact me.
Okay, excellent. And the Instagrams again?
Yeah, so the Instagrams for the rescue is at Pacific Pups Rescue, and for the business, you can see what products that we sell. Those are at Pacific Pups Products.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Kiah, for coming on the show today and sharing the wonderful work that you're doing with the animal rescue. Thank you for doing that. I love it. I love animals too, and that you're really just going above and beyond to take in these animals and care for them. It just means so much. So thank you for doing it. And thank you for sharing your knowledge and the information with us today. I so appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, and thank you for spreading the word about rescue. I mean, that's so important. So thank you so much for helping get the word out.
Well, thanks again, Kiah, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.